If you live in the Czech Republic or you have visited, you must have seen these signs. Otevřeno, zavřeno. Otevřeno means open, zavřeno means closed. Usually these signs would be on the door of a store, which in Czech is obchod, ten obchod. But if you type in a translator, the store is open, it might tell you this. Obchod je otevřený, otevřený. Why don't the signs say otevřený and zavřený and they choose to use these forms? Let's take a look at that. Vítejte na mém kanále Czech by Zuzka, kde vám pomocí angličtiny vysvětluju českou gramatiku. In order to understand what's happening, let's take a look at how the Czech adjectives work. The Czech adjectives have long vowel at the end in the nominative case, right? Here I wrote 6 sentences with different genders and numbers. This word is balík, a package, and that's masculine. Ten balík. If we want to say the package is ready, we would say balík je připravený. The Y at the end is for masculine, animate and inanimate, singular form. Balík je připravený. Večeře is feminine. Večeře. If we want to say the dinner is ready, we would say večeře je připravená. A for the feminine form, singular, the food is ready, jídlo. This is neuter. Then we say jídlo je připravené. E for the neuter in singular form. And the plural forms are a little bit different for masculine animate, so I gave an example with dogs. Dogs are ready for a hunt, for example. Psy jsou připravení. And then masculine inanimate and feminine have the same ending. Balíky, packages, and večeře, dinners. If you're preparing packages of dinner to take somewhere, then you can use the plural. Večeře jsou připravené, and this ending is the same for masculine inanimate plural and feminine plural. Balíky jsou připravené, večeře jsou připravené. Meals are ready, jídla jsou připravená. So the ending for the neuter noun in plural form is actually just like the feminine one here, so you can see that these ones are switched. This is how it works for all the adjectives when they are in their long forms. These are their long forms. But we have a specific category of adjectives that can be also short. Not all the adjectives can be shortened, but we do use their short forms. It doesn't mean they are shorter only. They just don't have the long vowel at the end. Let me show you what I mean. Instead of saying balík je připravený, you can formally say balík je připraven. Připraven. What happened is we just got rid of this last letter. There is no ending here. But when you use this short form of this particular adjective, it's used in formal context. I'm going to write the remaining forms right here. This is it. So we could say formally, večeře je připravena. Připravena. We got rid of the accent here. So připravená versus připravena. Jídlo je připraveno. Now we are getting somewhere. The O ending is just like otevřeno. I'll come back to this. Připraveni. Psi jsou připraveni. We got rid of the accent here. Balíky jsou připraveny. Večeře jsou připraveny. A jídla jsou připravena. So as you can see, there is no accent at the end. As I mentioned before, you cannot do this with all the adjectives. For example, dobrý, there is no such a form as dobr or dobra. But some adjectives, those that also have a verb that they came from, have this possibility. We could actually say that this is passive constructions, passive participle. Just like in English, you would have the verb prepare, to prepare, and then you say package is prepared. In Czech, this comes from the verb připravit, to prepare. Now let's take a look at this specific form, připraveno. This refers to the neuter form in singular, připraveno. You cannot use it for any other gender or plural number. And what happens with the form otevřeno and other forms that I will show you very soon, what you are seeing on the door is closed, and it doesn't refer to anything specific. Of course, it means the store, but the information is it is closed. It, the neuter. It is closed here. We could say obchod je otevřený, or even obchod je otevřen more formally, but it is not the most common thing. There are specific forms of the adjectives or of these participles that would be used in a formal context when we talk about status. For example, if you want to check the status of your order, it would be in this particular form. What I wrote here on the board is quite advanced. You don't have to worry about it if you are a beginner. What I want you to remember is that it is possible to have two forms of adjectives in Czech for some of them. And these ones, these short ones, are used in formal context. When we speak, we wouldn't use these forms so often unless it's this particular form that is just something so common referring to a result, to status. And here's one thing that I want to show you. If you're thinking that these endings are strange, you might remember with this word, rád, ráda, rádo, that you have seen this before. When you say you like something or you are glad and you use this specific word, it's an adjective. It's a short adjective. And that's why it changes its form. So, rád, ráda, rádo, rádi, rády, ráda. Let me know if this was an aha moment for you. On the board, I've written 10 words, 10 short adjectives that you can come across when you deal with Czech bureaucracy, Czech system. But some of these we also use commonly in everyday life. But usually they are more formal. These words tell us something about the status. So they all refer to it, that something has been done. One of the most common words and really handy word is hotovo. I'm sure you've seen this one. Hotovo means done. And this particular word is something that we use in everyday life. If you're working on something and then you finally say hotovo, done. It actually does come from a verb, hotovit, which we don't use that often, but this form is used very much. And again, you can have a specific form of this adjective if you're referring to a specific gender, a specific thing. If you say dinner is ready, then is večeře je hotová, you could say připravená. But in that particular sentence, you are saying večeře and it's feminine. You have to use the right form. You cannot say večeře je hotovo. You can say je hotovo, je to hotovo, or you can mention that particular thing you're referring to. If it's in a neuter form, then it's okay to say it this way. Jídlo je hotovo, but it sounds a little too formal when you mention the noun that you're referring to. Next one, otevřeno, we talked about this. Simply means open. It's open. So we're not mentioning what exactly it is. It just means it. Zavřeno, closed. Je otevřeno, je zavřeno. These forms are usually used with the verb to be and they are more formal. Objednáno. This comes from the verb objednat, which means to order. So if you order a package, you might get an email. Zboží je objednáno. The goods is ordered. Or maybe it just tells you the status and it would just say objednáno. Zaplaceno, very common from the verb zaplatit, to pay. Zaplaceno means paid. Again, it would be the status of your order that has been paid, or if you have to pay a certain fee for something and you can check the status online, it will tell you whether it's been paid or not. Zrušeno, from zrušit, to cancel. Zrušeno means cancelled. Zamítnuto, from zamítnout, to deny, to reject, and zamítnuto is rejected. Aktivováno, aktivovat is a verb, and aktivováno would be activated. Přijato, from přijmout, to accept, přijato, accepted. Vyřízeno, this can mean like handled or processed. All these forms are short and you can use them with the verb to be, but you can even leave it out when you just refer to a status. Imagine a clerk who has piles of paperwork on their desk and they want to label one pile that's been done, it's been processed, these forms have been processed, they could write on a piece of paper vyřízeno, done, or hotovo, but this one is more specific, it's been processed, handled. Another word that I actually forgot to write, that's very common, would be odesláno. From odeslat, to be sent away, dispatched. If you order some goods, you would get a confirmation email that would say odesláno, zboží je odesláno. It's been sent, it's been dispatched. And there are, of course, many other forms. Maybe you've seen other words, I'm sure. Feel free to write them in the comments so we all learn from this. Actually, this video was inspired by my student, Dimi, who lives in the Czech Republic, and he asked me about these forms. This is very common, like I said, when you order a package, you get an SMS or you get an email that tells you stav objednávky, the order status, objednáno, ordered, or zaplaceno, paid, odesláno, sent, or even vyzvednuto, picked up. Once you pick it up, it will already get a check mark and say vyzvednuto. Remember, these forms don't have to have any verb at all, but they could have a verb to be in formal context, and some of these forms could also have the verb to have. And the interesting thing is that then it would be less formal. Only some of these work with the verb to have. Like, for example, this one. If you want to say I am done, you can say mám hotovo. Literally, I have it done. I have done. If you're working on something and you're done, you can say mám hotovo, and that's not too formal. And we say this all the time. Už mám hotovo, I'm done already. Or the store could be more friendly and not use these very stereotypical signs. Not just saying otevřeno, they could say máme otevřeno. We are open, but literally saying we have open store. We have an open store. It sounds friendlier. Otevřeno is just a dry statement. Open. Máme otevřeno is friendly. Máme zavřeno, also more friendly. If you want to say I went to the store but it was closed, šel jsem do obchodu, ale měli zavřeno. Měli zavřeno. They had it closed. We could either say bylo zavřeno, it was closed, or měli zavřeno, like they, the people that own the store, they run the store. Bylo zavřeno is more formal, měli zavřeno is informal, and that's what we use all the time. This is also possible. You could say mám objednáno. I have ordered. I am done ordering. It's done. Mám objednáno. A mám zaplaceno. I have paid. Some of these also work as a nice alternative of translating present perfect simple. Last week I spoke about this topic. So if you say mám zaplaceno, it could be translated as I have paid. If you are at the cafeteria where you pick the food and then you pay and then you sit down and there are a lot of people and maybe the shop assistants are not very sure who's already paid, who hasn't. So they could ask you máte objednáno or máte zaplaceno? Have you ordered? Have you paid? And you could answer the same way. Ano, mám objednáno. Už mám objednáno. I have already ordered. Mám zrušeno doesn't work. These words are related to the status and it doesn't really work with the verb to have. Except for this one, maybe the same clerk could say mám vyřízeno. I have processed it. Mám vyřízeno, I'm done. Mám odesláno, I have sent it. You might have noticed also one thing that these specific forms have in common. They all have N here and T. Hotovo is an exception, there is a V here. So it usually concerns those adjectives that finish with ni or t in their base form. To conclude this topic, let's review some of the forms that you can really hear in everyday conversation. You can say už mám objednáno, I have already ordered. Už mám zaplaceno, I've paid already. Mám hotovo, I am done. And you can also use other forms, other verbs, if you want to say I have already done something, such as mám zbaleno, from zbalit to pack. I am packed. Mám zbaleno. Literally, I have it packed, but you're talking about the result. I am packed. Mám zbaleno. Or mám uvařeno. When you have to cook a lot and then you are done. You can say, I have cooked everything now. Mám uvařeno. I am done cooking. Mám uvařeno. The same would be with mám uklizeno. I am done cleaning. It's all done. Mám uklizeno. One more interesting piece of information at the end. These forms don't have to go with the verb to be or to have, but there are also some phrases that would go with the verb to get. Dostat. Dostat vynadáno is something that we use in informal language too. It comes from the verb vynadat, which means to scold someone, to yell at someone. A dostat vynadáno, to be yelled at, to get scolded. Ségra dostala vynadáno, protože rozbila skleničku. My sister got yelled at because she broke a glass. Dostala vynadáno. And přidáno, from přidat, to add. So if someone says, dostal jsem přidáno, they probably want to say, I got a raise at work. I got a raise. Dostal jsem přidáno. A to je všechno. Máme hotovo. I hope this video helped you. You learned a lot from this. Let me know if you have any other remarks or questions related to this topic. Budu se těšit za týden. Ahoj!